all know, we started culture networking more than 20 years ago in Europe, and obviously when they started they were very small, very lean, very easygoing. 20 years later we have a lot of challenges and a lot of changes which are happening not only in the culture sector but all over Europe, which obviously our networks have to reflect on that and have to see how to proceed further. And I did a very informal research among maybe about 50 colleagues from different networks who are members, also board members, as well as potential members of networks, what they think and what they see currently happening with the strengths and weaknesses of networking, and also how networks might proceed in the future. So I found out that first of all, they all were very inspired about networking. Everybody said, we network because we want to exchange our knowledge, because we inspire each other, because we want to see the different way by which others do things what we do, because we want to have a common voice in Europe, because also we would like to learn from the otherness and we would like to build bridges between the generation. So there was lots of arguments for continuation of networking in general. Then I tried to find out what are the strengths and weaknesses of the networks. And our colleagues, they said, yes, we have a lot of strengths because through our collaborative efforts we can be stronger to put culture on the European agenda, also the national agendas of the politicians. We also are strong because of our diversity. We have members coming from many countries, and I envisage especially the international and European culture networks. We are also strong because we would like to combine the theory, research and practice together with the political angle. But also many of the members mentioned weaknesses of networks. For example, the fact that they grow, many of them grow and they lose focus. Also, so this question of to grow or not to grow still stays. Also, some of them mentioned it's so hard sometimes to take decisions in networking because the executive manager or director has to all the time consult with the board, and sometimes people in the board are very busy professionals. So from the very operational viewpoint, there are lots of weaknesses because networks have different models of working. And to add to this, again, one of the challenges which they all face is the financial problem. Many of them try to survive with limited budgets. Some of them have annual budget of even 10,000–20,000 euro annually. Others operate with a bit of bigger budgets, for example, like 300,000, 400,000. But a problem in the future and a serious challenge is how they're going to continue, because 50% of their funding comes from government sources, from the European Commission or other public money. The other 50% from membership dues. So there is nothing in between. There is nothing which we call like alternative strategies for sustainable development. I mean, financial-wise. So the strengths and weaknesses I mentioned because to see how and where we go in the future, we have to definitely find out what is the situation of networking today. So as I say, there is a kind of a balance between positive and negative trends and factors influencing. What might happen in the future is also a very interesting question, which again through this informal research I tried to find out. And many of my colleagues said the future is unpredictable. Some said maybe networks are going to disappear, some of them. Others will merge, most probably. Others might go online because one of the challenges which we all see are the online tools. Maybe some networks will try to find alternative sources of funding. They will maybe use their websites as a business model, although we are still afraid of breaking the boundary between not-for-profit and the business sector, which definitely we have to see really how to approach in the future. Maybe other networks will become much more ossified and much more institutionalized because this trend exists in the last couple of years, so that from very informal they become too formal. Others might dissolve in much more satellite meetings of professionals based more on a city or a local level or a country level rather than, and also based on a subject rather than covering so many things and growing constantly. One of the trends I see which might, in a way, save networks is as I call it, strategic thinking and action within an innovative and entrepreneurial context. Because my informal research shows that many of these networks really do not have a strategic vision of how and what they're going to do in the year 2021. Because they say we live in a turbulent environment, we face daily problems, there's no time, there's no resources to concentrate on strategies. I find it very important because strategies in the business schools and in the business world is something which has existed since many years. But in networking, we're still very young in implementing strategic plans in our actions. And I would even add something else, what I call like innovative tools, because networks are exactly about how to be different than the others, how to think beyond the box, how to inspire our collaborative innovation. So if we keep this trend, like being innovative in what we are developing in the future, I think we can save our networks. And the other thing which I strongly believe is going to again be an optimistic scenario for the future is that I wouldn't say that networks have members who have to be served. It's more like we do. We create the network and we help the network to exist because of our help and our volunteering and because of our collective effort. So I'm not a member of a network because I pay a due and I want services back. I'm a member of a network just because I want to help, I want to contribute. So if we keep this trend, I know we all are busy professionals, but I believe if we keep this trend, then there might be a future of saving our collaborative efforts, which we call networking. One of the current challenges of networks is that some of them combine the not-for-profit members with business members, and obviously they have totally different needs. Business members, they meet just because they want to increase the profit, they want to do new contracts, they represent artists, so they want, as a result of networking, to bring more profit to their organization. While not-for-profit members, they network because they want to lobby, they want to advocate, they want to put culture on the agenda, they want broader action and participation, and I think this is an important challenge for people who run networks, how to really make sure that you fit to all the members' needs, which sometimes become very impossible. So this is why one of the ways is to focus much more, to focus and to prioritize, and this is why I mentioned strategic planning and thinking, because by thinking strategically we can see where our focus is, and again, it's not a question of serving, but it's a question of empowering the members to do activities and to really concentrate on what is important not only for them but also for the network. So I see it more like a collaborative process rather than what should we do for this type of members or the other type of members. I think there is no way anymore that cultural organizations avoid, also networks, avoid global discussions around global problems, including sustainability, climate change, environment, etc. Because we live in a global society, and I strongly believe in strategic alliances, so that culture sector is not anymore an isolated one. We have to find bridges and break boundaries between the culture sector and the rest of other sectors like education, healthcare, environment, etc. Lab for Culture was initiating in 2010 a very interesting research piece of work, which was a collaborative research on artists, how artists globally respond to climate change. So I strongly invite the viewers to look at it, because it's a really interesting piece of work about the artistic perspective, but also the perspective of culture managers, scientists, and researchers, academia on this global issue. I believe that there is a lot which we can use from the culture sector, from our artistic organizations, back into other areas. like the business studies and the business sector, because we implement a lot of models from the business sector to arts and culture, but vice versa. It's not that much spread around. So we have so much creativity going on. We have so many interesting models and interesting patterns in the culture sector which other sectors could use. The question is how we really provoke that, how we disseminate the knowledge which is in the culture sector outside of it, so that, and this is why I mentioned the strategic alliances, so that this is one of the ways by which we can strategically not only survive but develop our networks and our artistic organizations in a very innovative way, together with other organizations and people from other sectors.